So if we're looking at consciousness, right, and we can identify this consciousness as God, we can identify this from a more scientific perspective and just call it like a universal intelligent consciousness, right? Essentially, Albert Einstein had this theory. It's called unified field theory, that everything is possibly connected by this one field of energy. And this field of energy, basically all these other energies are secondary energies that are controlled by this one energy that connects everything together, right? And he was on the verge, he was looking for this type of energy throughout his entire course of his existence, and he was never able to find it. And, you know, because nobody's really been able to harness it and apply it scientifically. It's never been able to have a scientific application or outcome till today, except for what we're doing now. And so when we're looking at consciousness, right, if we go into like the very beginning of existence, right, you have energy and you have matter. When you have energy and you have matter, basically what happened is they were already existing before the Big Bang, right? That this is a theory from Sir Arthur C. Clarke, a renowned physicist. It was kind of ahead of his time, but he theorized essentially energy and matter existed long before the Big Bang. And the Big Bang was actually not the birth of the universe, but the birth of consciousness in the universe and its integration with energy and matter. And what this consciousness is consciousness is the substance and the essence of all of life itself. It is the director, controller. It is that very thing, which basically, you know, what tells an atom what the atom's going to be? What tells an atom to form a chair, to form a person, to form a tree, right? There's a very specific set of information. We're not able to identify exactly what that was, but if you were supposedly able to change that information in the atom, you can change its characters and behaviors as a result of doing that. And so what we found is this energy that is programming the atom is that very consciousness from the beginning of the Big Bang. And that energy of consciousness directs, it tells the atom what to do and how to be and the conditions of its existence. So when we're looking at human nature, what we have to understand is that all of life, everything down from atoms to molecules to human emotions, human conditions, all of these things are directed and controlled by consciousness. So the only way that you can really make a change in your life, right, is to change things at the level of consciousness. Now, this is something that's fundamentally really hard to do on your own, especially because I don't know if you've ever tried to change a habit or tried to do something different in your life, right? An old programming that you've been living your life a certain way and you want to change it. It takes an incredible amount of effort, an incredible amount of energy to do that, right? That effort, that awareness, that conscious decision to make that comes from consciousness, right? But the resistance we feel and we face in our life basically is coming from a bigger consciousness, right, that exists outside of our own individual decision to make a change. And this consciousness is the consciousness of nature. Now, the consciousness of nature enforces certain sets of regulations, certain parameters by which things can exist and function within those parameters. If you exceed those parameters, certain things happen. You're no longer harmonious. You're no longer able, right, the homeostasis that you've maintained is lost. So your life is essentially lost, right? If your temperature, your body temperature goes above or below a certain parameter, you can die or go into a coma, right? There can be a lot of severe repercussions when you go outside of these bounds, right? So we're not meant to exceed or go outside of these bounds. Nature has tight regulation over that. So a lot of these things that are, you know, prevalent in this wellness industry and, you know, personal development, a lot of it is pseudoscience. And a lot of what you see, even on a clinical setting, a lot of it is psychological reports. So, right, you can easily say, you know, I feel great the next day, 100% improvement, marked down. They don't measure a lot of other parameters that really show you the hardcore objective science behind that approach. And you would also assume that if there's anything that's actually existing in the wellness industry, then the number of problems and the size of the wellness industry wouldn't really be increasing so much. But you see, the wellness industry is bigger than the pharmaceutical industry. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry, 4 times larger than the pharmaceutical industry. And at the same time, our mental health problems are on the rise. They're increasing even more, which shows that whatever's out there is not providing a lasting solution for people. So, right, as I was saying, this energy of consciousness, this is where I get to the clinical trial and what we're able to do. So what we've found is that by not applying any other methodology or trick or technique, by simply being able to harness consciousness and transmitting it to either a living organism, a non-living material, a human being, whatever that may be, you can essentially change, right, that those operating conditions for that person that nature has tightly regulated. They can exceed beyond it and eventually reach a new state of consciousness where they're able to maintain these certain levels of conditions within their life. And that includes better relationships, better finances, overall better quality of life, better physical health, mental health. All these things we've seen reflected when you change consciousness, and they're lasting.